I never know how to start these things. So I guess I'll just start talking. If you're watching this, you aren't alone in your plight, in your struggle to try to understand where the hell you are, what you are, and why you're here. This is an internal struggle that I wrestle with each and every day, all throughout the day, that never stops, never ceases. And what I've been thinking about recently is this idea that we have to pass some moral test or work for our salvation out of this place. It is not just, it is immoral to force that upon someone who didn't choose to be here, who didn't choose for the world to be the way that it is. All they did was wake up in this nightmare, and they're forced to do the best that they can, or not. And my whole life, with this spiritual struggle within myself, I've realized that there is absolutely nothing that I can do to change this place. All I can do is change myself. And that lies the internal struggle of trying to be better than what you are, trying to outperform yourself each and every day with these arbitrary good and bad, and thinking that you have an actual choice in the say. No. We just have choices. And with those choices, we can choose A, B, C, or D. But the heart of this problem lies in the forced participation in a cruel, unjust, brutal, harsh, and cold reality, all while gaslighting us to keep jumping through hoops, to keep bettering ourselves, to keep transcending this lowly, abominable state with no end in sight. There is no instructions on what to do, how to do, and why to do. All you're going to get is more confusion and more reasons why this place exists, should exist, or should not exist. But ultimately, you are given no real answers and no real objective in order to get what you actually desire. What we actually desire is total liberation from this unjust, immoral, cold, heartless, brutal death machine, suffering and agony. It is unjust and immoral to force us to jump through these hoops of spiritual progress, these hoops of bettering ourselves, quote unquote. For what end? What end? There is no end in sight. It is not right to forcibly keep us here and demand that we prove ourselves to what, to who, and why. These questions never get answered. Yet there's this internal struggle that keeps us trying to do the impossible, that this realm will not allow us to do. We don't have free will, and we can't liberate ourselves from inside of here. And it is unjust and immoral to suggest that we have to work for our liberation. It is unjust and immoral to gaslight us into thinking that we have to perform, we have to do this, this, and this in order to liberate ourselves. In a just realm, the mere thought of wanting to liberate yourself from an undesirable place should they should offer you guidance, steps, methods. If they were truly just and truly benevolent, and you truly wanted nothing to do with this place, they would not make it harder for you to detach, to leave. What they would do is make all of these arbitrary hoops you have to jump through in order to please them, in order to become acceptable in their eyes. And at the end of the day, you're forced back into that immoral state of being, because just being here is an act of immorality, with no other options yet to do the best you can with what you have. It's not right to imprison something and then force them to try to pass tests and reach goals and transcend the state that it brought you into. That is a form of psychopathy that is beyond my level of understanding, because I can't even fathom forcing something to do that. It wants us to feel guilt and shame for everything that we've done. But everything that we've done is under duress and coercion. It is not a testament of our actual free will choice. It has been done under duress. It has been done under imposition of forced slavery in a participating realm that forces us to do what we do. And yes, I'm not saying that self-development is futile. No, it's not futile. But the game itself is futile. If we're playing this game of bettering ourselves to please something or someone in order for us to be free, that is a losing game, because you will never be able to please a psychopath in a demented realm full of injustice and immorality and slavery. That is the tell. That is all you need to know, that this system is not right, and it is against everything that you are, everything. And for something to be liberated from it, looking down and to judge whether or not we can be free because of their test, is a level of psychopathy that if they were in human form, you could easily call it out and see it for what it is. But since they lie in the shadows, and since they manipulate our perception, our emotions, our psychology, everything, we're at a loss. We're at a loss. These things can't even show themselves to us. It is not right to imprison someone. Keep them away from knowledge. Keep them away from actual free will choices. And keep them away from themselves. And put them in a system that does everything it can to squash true morality, to squash true freedom, and then turn around and blame them for not passing the right test, not jumping through the right hoops, not pleasing them in a way that's acceptable for their actual liberation. This form of punishment is unjust. This form of deciding whether you are worthy or not to leave here is unjust, because any actual choice of free will is stifled by the injustice of this realm on every layer. And you can't say that it's moral, it's right, it's ethical to force us into this position. So don't feel guilty or shameful, or that you're not worthy of something better. You are worthy of something better just by the mere fact of you wanting something better. If someone wants something better or wants to change, and that is their true intention, to no longer want to participate in evil, to no longer want to participate and see the errors of this place and even themselves, and say, I'm tired of this. I don't want to be this anymore. And any and every attempt at changing or detaching is met with brute force to put you back into the position that you don't want to be in. That's not just. That's not right. And there's nothing good about that. Nothing. Just the mere fact of you wanting something different, of you wanting to change this predicament and even yourself, and liberating yourself and wanting freedom and saying, I want to turn away from this. At my core level, I want nothing more to do with this. And what are you met with? You're met with the same old bullshit you're met with each and every time you're here, yet again, forced to participate, forced to be what you don't want. I'm here to remind you that you're not alone. There are many of us like this. And there are many others who are on this journey who haven't reached this point yet, but they want the same thing we want. They want to be liberated from these shackles of flesh, these shackles of nature, these shackles of an oppressive, cruel, brutal, harsh, evil system that is controlling every aspect of their life. And they're met with more chains. They're met with more things to do in order to reach that. If you came upon an imprisoned community and they were shackled and they were being forced to participate against their will in the customs and the rituals and the culture that you found them, and they said they wanted out, they don't want to do this anymore, and instead of actually freeing them and teaching them how to get out, you say that they have to pass all of these tests, all of these arbitrary hoops they have to jump through in order to prove that they actually mean it. That's sick and that's twisted. We don't need justice from the victims of this place. We need justice from the ones keeping this in motion. You cannot change something that is inchangeable. That is our nature while we're here. While we're here, we're always under this oppressive force. And there's nothing you can do about it to get out of it. And to say that you weren't good enough to reach liberation, you didn't do the right things in order to get free, you made the wrong choices in life under duress and coercion. I'm not saying to be an evil, cruel, malicious, violent person. We're doing the best we can. You only have the choices to listen to that internal truth and to try to do the right thing. But at the end of the day, we're always doing the wrong thing as well, because this place is wrong. And for something to be above and beyond this, and to look down and to judge those who are forced to participate in evil ways, or they suffer. That is not free will. If we had free will to actually turn away from all of these evil things without duress, without coercion, without suffering, we would do it in an instant. That's what they don't want you to come to realize. We never had a choice in this. We never had a choice to fully turn away from this place. That was an illusion. That was a hoop they want you to keep jumping through to prove your worthiness, to prove that you actually have liberated yourself. So it's a twisted, fucked up game that is being played on us. And the moment you can stop feeling guilty and shameful and that you're not worthy because you haven't reached some higher knowledge or some higher spiritual truth, it's all to keep you running in circles, trying to prove your worth, trying to prove that you have enough information and knowledge to get out. But in actuality, with any just moral system, the mere fact that you wanted to change it to begin with would give them all the reason to help you out without any manipulation. They would teach you, they would lead you, they would guide you without any puzzles or parables or things that can mean 1,000 different things. This realm is a gaslighting machine that will keep you on that gaslighting journey, never realizing that it was all rigged. All of it. Even this spiritual journey is rigged. I'm gonna get up now. Anything that we're doing is rigged against us. I'm here to say that I understand and I have compassion for all of us. Even those who aren't awakened, quote unquote awakened, even those in the slumber, because they didn't have a choice. They didn't have the free will to choose something different. Liberation starts with realizing there's nothing you can do to please this system, to better yourself enough to reach that velocity of liberation. It's always going to gaslight you into thinking that you have to do more, that you have to know more, that you have to come to the right transcendent nature in order to get out. No, just the mere fact that you want out should be enough to get out. Anything more than that, if you truly wanted out, and that was your heart's intention, and you truly wanted more than this, you truly wanted to transcend this, and your intention was pure, there should be nothing stopping you. There should be nothing getting in the way of that. There should be nothing holding you down, keeping you from that. And any force that is so-called good, that is allowing that to happen or is doing that, is against your will and should be looked at as a prison guard, keeping you from that intention. So if this is all true, then it must be that we're in some kind of imprisoned state. Because if there was anything higher that was good, that had control over this, it would be immoral of them to keep us here against our will, to keep us slaved and suffering away with no end in sight. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the point? What is the point of us crawling our way to some higher level of consciousness when there are roadblocks at every turn, keeping us, hindering us? It's to realize that it's a rigged game. This spiritual quest, this spiritual journey is yet another rigged game, keeping you striving to do something that is impossible here. And as long as you're striving, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to feel let down. You're going to feel like you're not good enough, like you're not worthy enough, that all these other spiritual charlatans are much higher and advanced, and they got it, but you don't. So you're going to keep working. Working against your will is slavery. Even if it's spiritual work. If it's spiritual work and you're getting nowhere, you're truly getting nowhere. That's a form of slavery. It's all manipulation to get you to work and strive for things that are never going to happen while you're here. Never. And I'm not saying that the work is fruitless. I have done a lot of spiritual work, quote unquote spiritual work. I have deprogrammed and reached a certain level of awareness that I wouldn't have if I didn't do any spiritual work. But the end goal is the same. The end goal is I want to be liberated from this place. And guess what? It hasn't happened. And it won't happen. Playing these games. Playing these games will never lead you to liberation. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Playing a rigged game with rigged rules in an unjust, unfair, immoral world, seeking something that you can never get here, will only bring you more desperation and more confusion. So I think we need to start with knowing within, knowing for certain that we are worthy to be liberated from this existence. We don't need to prove anything. We don't need to pass any test. Just the fact that we want more, not in a selfish, greedy way, but in a true, compassionate way, in a way that we want to actually advance our position in life, as in our spiritual nature, as in we don't want this evil condition any longer. That mere fact that you don't want this evil condition any longer should be all you need to be liberated. And perhaps that's all you need. Perhaps that's all you need to know that you deserve more than this. To know that no matter what they tell you or manipulate you into believing, that it is just that. It is just manipulation to get you to think that you need to be here longer, that you need more information, that you need more knowledge, that you need more spiritual insights. No. You don't need any of that. All you need is the will and the resolve to want to be more. Or the will and resolve to already know that you are that. You're already that, but this place, whatever you want to call it, is keeping its boot on you from achieving that. If something is keeping you down from achieving what you want, that is a bully. That is a selfish, greedy, self-serving, narcissistic, psychopathic predator. And there's more words, I just can't think of it. But just knowing that you're in the fucking dirt and its boot is stomped on you, keeping you from moving or progressing in any way. So you have to crawl on your knees and your hands and barely struggle to move a foot. And sometimes they'll kick you back. So you lost the ground. So you got to crawl even more. And that's the whole existence here, is crawling on your knees with a big fat boot on top of you, striving to be more. But if that boot was removed from your back and those scars, your bloody hands were healed, and you actually got a choice without any coercion, what then? What then would happen? You could grow. And what if that boot changed into a hand that actually helped you, led you and guided you, and wanted your true potential, and saw you for what you actually were and not for the illusion that this realm placed upon you and you believed? This is all a fucked up, twisted game that they want you to blame yourself and crawl on your knees and ask for forgiveness and beg and plead, to pass all their tests, to jump through all their hoops so that you can have freedom. That is fucked up, that's twisted, and no moral, ethical being would ever do that to you. A moral, ethical being would see you and help you on your feet and guide you to where you actually wanted to go. They would take those shackles off of you, which is this body, and the prison is this world, and they would lead you. But that's the thing, we can't trust these things because that's not happening. So what then? You must trust yourself. That's hard to put into words, but trusting yourself starts with realizing that, would you put yourself through this? Would you put someone else through this miserable existence and try to pass all these tests and jump through all these hoops in order to prove their worthiness? No, you wouldn't. So start there. Start there and realize. Be there for yourself. And know that just the fact that you want more than this, that you want change, that you don't want to be here, that you yearn for a higher existence, is all you need to be liberated if this was a good system. And grow that within yourself. Keep growing that, no matter what kind of manipulation or coercion they try to put on you and gaslight you. Know that that's all that is needed. All that is needed to transcend is the mere fact that you want to. And if it's your full heart's intention and desire, that's even more. So keep that within yourselves today and know that there's nothing you need to pass. There's no test you need to pass. There's no hoops you gotta jump through. Just you wanting that should be enough. And keep developing that within yourself. I just have to document the synchronicity. As I was driving here, I thought I wasn't done with this video yet, so decided to come here. And on the way here, I was listening to Bob Marley Redemption song, thinking about my redemption and liberation from this place. And what do you know? Here he is, along with Know Thyself, with stairs, Truman Show stairs, leading up out of here. This is the kind of stuff that happens to me all the time. Things that are not normal and natural in a normal and natural place, but only in a weird and unusual place can these things happen. So, with that said, I'm here trying to liberate myself. And I wasn't done with the conversation yet. So I had to stop filming earlier because I had a client I had to go see. But on the way out of that on the way out of that appointment, I knew something was still brewing inside of me that needed to be said, that needed to come out. And I was listening to freedom songs to kind of inspire me, because it's hard to come up with words. And once you get a certain inspiration, I've noticed it is imperative that you go with it, because it is not often that these moments of inspiration can come through. So I've noticed that whenever I have that inspiration, go with it. Just go with it. And I don't even know what I'm going to be talking about now, but I still had it. So there's something that needs to be said still. And as I was coming here, I saw the Bob Marley and the Know Thyself together with stairways leading up. So perhaps I'm on the right track, or it's just another sick, twisted manipulation that this matrix plays to keep you spinning in circles. But regardless, I'm going to keep going. And I'm here to remind you again that don't gaslight yourself into thinking there's some big picture here that you're just missing, that you're just not smart enough to figure out, or knowledgeable enough, or you're not spiritual enough to grasp these things that you hear online, or you hear other people say, or people who think they have it all figured out. No, that's part of the manipulation it uses to turn yourself against yourself, to become your own worst enemy, because the enemy is definitely inside of you, but it's not you. You are not that entity. It is a separate thing that has been implanted within you to steer you off course on purpose, to lead you to confusing states of awareness on purpose. So it's an outside and an inside job, all working together to keep you more and more enslaved and confused. And the more you realize this, the more you can just be compassionate to yourself. And with saying that, I became very still, because I know I can rest within that. I can be still within that. Be compassionate to myself. I am an enslaved entity on every layer I can think of while here. And I don't want to beat myself up over not knowing, or not doing, or over doing nothing. This is the place where these things are allowed to continue unhindered. Yet the good within us is hindered at every level. I don't want anyone to blame themselves for this messed up situation that we find ourselves in. There's nothing that you can do to please or better or become worthy in someone else's eyes, in some higher spiritual entity's eyes. That has to be within yourself first. And it's not fair, it's not right to have to work at uncovering all of these things that you don't want to. I don't want to be doing any of this. I want to be done with it. I want nothing to do with this place. And it is not respecting my wishes. It is not respecting my free will. I want to remove myself and my participation from this place. I want all manipulations to cease. I want all lies to be revealed with the truth. And I want to walk in the truth of all things. I don't want to be coerced. I don't want to be manipulated by the body, by my environment, by the culture, by society, by the government, by philosophies, by religions. I want it all to cease. I want to know and walk in the truth at all times. All limitations cease now. And I'm still here. And none of that has come true. My free will has not been respected. My free will has not been considered. So, what else is there left to do? Knowing that you don't have free will. Knowing that most of the choices you make within your day are based on a small fraction of little choices that are presented to you based off of your survival of the body first and foremost. Well, you can go off script. You could do things that you wouldn't normally do. I wouldn't normally be here out in the cold talking to myself. But as you saw earlier, because I did that, I got those weird synchronicities. I don't know what to make of it. But what I do know is, what do we know? Exactly, what do we know? I know that I want freedom and liberation for myself, but not only for myself, for everything, even to those who are so deep in the illusion and under the trance of this place, because they do not deserve this either. Nothing deserves this. So why is this even happening? So if our free will is not being granted, considered, or even thought of, then what other options do we have? So we could be imprisoned here, as in, not that we did something wrong, but we are like prisoners of war, so to say, or hostages or kidnappees. Or this is some kind of sick and twisted game that we somehow agreed to outside of here, with no pause button or means to exit the game, like some kind of escape room, a sick and demented escape room, where everything we do further entrenches us into it and gaslights us into thinking it's something else. I don't know what it is. All I know is nothing here deserves this. Get to a certain point where all you see is slavery and suffering. Even under the most beautiful of things that is considered to be beautiful here, you see right through that into the abomination of all the little things at work, playing into the illusion of beautiful or free or good. The only good here is your good intentions, which are easily manipulated and controlled to return back into the slavery suffering game. So we're here, and there seems to be nothing we can do about it. Nothing. No striving. No going forward with any of this, if you're being honest with yourself. If you're being honest, there's no way out while in this state. And we're all marching forward into the slow destruction and death and torture of ourselves. Doesn't look good. It's bleak. It's horrible. Yet this place will continue to gaslight you with little good moments here and there. Moments of comfortableness, moments of security, moments of getting your needs met so that you don't suffer and realize what's actually going on. But there's millions of people who are out in this cold weather, freezing, while we're in our nice little comfortable homes, not worried, don't have any awareness of what that actually is or feels like. And that's what it feels like to me if I were to escape here. well, I'm going to escape here no matter what. I'm out of here. But once I get out, knowing that this is still going on while I'm enjoying, I don't know if that's the right word, freedom and infinite awareness, and this is still going on. Justice would be to end this place, to stop this place, to bring those who are actually in control to justice. Whether it's an illusion or not, whether it's just a game or not, this game needs to be ended, deleted, erased forever, so that nothing will ever have to experience this place again. Perhaps that's why we're here, to experience it, to report back and tell about our findings, how miserable it actually is, how deceiving it actually is, how grotesque and dehumanizing and absolutely evil it all is. I'm not saying that's why we're here, but either way, I have my report that this place is an abomination on every level. And there's nothing that can be done to change my decision about this place and the suffering it causes to everything around, everything in this realm. So what now? What now is I have to be good to myself. I have to be that compassionate, loving, good-natured thing that this realm doesn't provide. I have to find that inner resolve to be that for myself, no matter what happens, no matter what situation I may find myself in, no matter how triggered or upset, or how much pain and misery I'm in. Whatever events happen, whatever losses, injustices, inhumanities that I may face or I may see, I have to start with being compassionate towards myself and remind myself always that even though I do not want to participate in any of this, there's little options I really have as long as I'm here. So to be coerced and forced into these things, and then to judge myself for being immoral or choosing to do the wrong thing, is not going to work on me, and it shouldn't work on you. You know within your heart, your true essence, whether you want to strive for justice and peace and good and empathy. And these words are just scratching the surface of what I actually mean. Everything good and pure and righteous. You know within yourself if that fits you or not. And if it doesn't fit you, and you're not actively causing harm or enjoy the abuse of others, and you just want to change, you want to transcend this place, I think that's good enough. Because remember, there is a big, fat, nasty boot that's on your back, hindering any growth, not helping, but hindering and stopping and crushing you back into the lowly state that we're in. So don't be so hard on yourself. Once that boot is removed and those chains broken, then you can truly see yourself for what you're capable of and who you actually are. But in this realm, it takes a lot of strength and courage and will to even get out of bed, to even try to do the right thing. And when you get knocked down again and again and again, and you're surrounded at every corner, everywhere you go, nothing is working out for you. And even when it does work out, it's just to further entrench you into the lie. And you realize that spiritual warfare doesn't even begin to describe what has happened to you for your entire life. That's that boot that crushes you. Everything from your anatomy, your physiology, your mental, emotional, spiritual, governmental, societal, parental, familial, educational, experts, knowledge, all of it is corrupted. All of it. And it's all aimed at you with your head in the crosshairs. We never had a chance here. We never had a chance. Yet somehow, we're still crawling. Somehow, they can't kill what is within us, no matter what. And we may feel like that. We may feel that we're slowly dying on the inside. And it may be true metaphorically, but they can never kill what they did not create. They can never kill what they don't know. They can never kill what they aren't. And that is our saving grace, so to say, that no matter what happens here, no matter what we go through, no matter what we experience, we can't be snuffed out. This just could be feel good vibe talk, for lack of a better word. But no, I refuse to believe that. There's something that they're keeping us from. There's something that they have blocked off from us and layered us with trauma and abuse and psychological, emotional, spiritual warfare to keep us from our true potential. If it were so bleak and hopeless, it would already be over. They wouldn't be doing what they're doing. Within me, I know that of this place, there's much to be unknowable by design. And when you leave here, that is the ultimate gate kept secret. They don't want you to know what happens after you leave here, because if you knew what happens after you leave here, it would make your decision a hell of a lot easier on what you should do. Don't you see the fear tactic of that? And they want to instill you with so much fear and anxiety, not only from death of the body, but what happens spiritually after you go. Is God gonna judge you and send you to hell? Are the archons gonna funnel you into a prison system and reincarnate you? Or are you gonna go into the light and wake up in another baby's body? These are all fear tactics aimed to control you and your progress forward. If you had no fear whatsoever, what would you do? If fear was taken out of the equation, how would you proceed? You see, fear is one of the most used tactics of control of this place. Fear of death, fear of suffering, fear of pain. The body relies on fear to get your ass going, to get you to work, to get you paying your bills, to get you eating and feeding and buying and selling, so that you can fulfill those little survival mechanisms in order to continue going. And when the survival mechanisms are threatened, fear comes in, fear of suffering, because the body does not take kindly to you not fulfilling its desires of food, water, shelter, and everything else involved with that. So, if you could remove the fear and know within yourself that this place is unjust, immoral, there's nothing here that could make any of this worth it, that could make any of this right in any ethically moral being's eyes, that fear would turn into compassion for yourself and for those around you, that no matter how you leave this place, no matter how you go, no matter what happens to you, you do not belong here under any circumstance. No manipulation can be used to turn yourself against yourself. If you can trust yourself above anyone else, you can't be manipulated to do things that you know are wrong. If you know it's wrong and you trust yourself and you have knowledge and wisdom and gnosis, these words are hard to put into words. You've gathered all of this. They can try to trick you, try to deceive you, but you know the gig's up. So the only thing that they could do is use force. Using force. And force only works on those that are weaker. So, if they were to forcefully imprison you again, it would be unjust imprisonment. Unjust and immoral. And no slave would blame themselves for that. You would keep your eye on the prize. The prize is knowing who's at fault and why they're at fault. The prize is liberation. The prize is seeking liberation above all, and knowing that these hoops and these tests don't prove or mean anything in reality for your actual liberation. Only in a psychopath's game, circus of carnival freaks, where you're a caged poodle, and in order to get out and get your food, you gotta jump through the hoops and entertain the whole crowd for the night. No, we're beyond that. So what's the point of this video? I don't know. Just reminding you that I'm going through this too. I'm starting to get to the point where no matter what spiritual progress I make, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, leads to nothing other than, I guess, me trusting myself more. But at the end of it, it does not prove my worth. It does not prove that I should get out of here. It does not prove that I've passed the test, I've done the work, and now I can leave. No, it doesn't prove that. Because that's a sick game, sick, twisted game. There are abominable things that happen here every day. And yes, some people here are responsible for those abominable acts. But the designer is at fault as well, more so than anything that creation does. And don't get lost in this religious concepts, okay? If it helps you think of a video game, sure, okay, the programmers is at fault for making a wicked, despicable place. Well, I don't want to keep rambling, so just know that I'm with you. Let's try not to blame ourselves. Let's try to help ourselves, be compassionate. It was getting so cold that I couldn't think anymore, so I had to stop and regather myself and my thoughts. I hope this video has helped you in some way, in some form, because a lot of times I feel like I'm just wasting my breath, but I know that's not true. Regardless, it's good for me, at the very least. And that is what I'm working to liberate. It can drive you mad. It does drive you mad. It drives me mad. I know a lot of us are at this point of what now? What now? We're just gonna sit in our rooms and do nothing all day, meditate, watch these YouTube videos, comment, like, subscribe. I mean, it's all just so dumb. It's just all dumb, all of it. And to think that we put ourselves into the situation to experience this. No. Obviously some sort of prison or farm, something with ill intent to our well-being. And that's the truth. That's the truth. That's the purpose of you being here. It was not for some good intention. It's something diabolical and evil. And that intention, that diabolical evilness, wants you to blame yourself. Wants you to work and strive to get out of there, to get out of the hole that it dug for you and that you've been digging yourself your entire life. But no more. How? I'm not sure. But this hand is reaching down into your hole and helping you up to your feet, helping you out of the hopeless situation, helping you out of the darkness. What good does that do? I don't know. I'm sure it must do something. Because this hand is reaching down, not down, I'm higher than you, but reaching out towards you and wanting your liberation too, wanting you out of this effed up place, out of this effed up situation. But I can't do anything but offer that intention towards you, because what can I do? I can't even help myself, it seems like. That's what it wants me to think. I'm gonna try to be neutral no matter what happens. I'm gonna try to be neutral because a lot of little things and big things happen all throughout my day. And I see it as some form of energy extraction all day long. And I know I don't have it as bad as some other people. I'm not trying to say it's worse than that. That shouldn't matter. What should matter is we're all in this on varying levels. And it's not a competition to see who's the biggest victim or who's the biggest winner. No, it's not any of that. But just realize the things throughout your day constantly that's vying for your attention, your energy, to knock you off balance, to suck it out of you. And try refusing to react. Try refusing to defend yourself against things that you know nothing's going to come out of it. All this is temporary. All of this is a temporary state of delusion, confusion, and illusion. I know that sounds kind of funny and poetic, but it's true. None of this is going to last. Even in our immense pain and suffering, although it's inhumane and injustice to you, it's not eternity. And that is the only hope that I can give you to those who are in that kind of pain. I find myself there a lot, but not. I know it could be a lot worse. What I'm trying to say is, I'm glad this is a temporary situation, at least for this lifetime. Because there's no way I would ever want the fountain of youth to remain here year after year like a vampire. No. Even though it's horrendous and leaves this trail of suffering behind, it's a bittersweet pill, death. For that is the doorway into the unknown. And fear is the only thing that's going to keep us like little rats in a cage, trying to make our cage more comfortable and beautiful and enjoyable, when we know the truth. And no amount of prettying up a tomb is going to change the fact that it's a tomb. I don't want to sound so depressing, but it's how I feel. So, don't feel bad for having addictions or coping mechanisms. I know it's not ideal, and I know in our right state, free from the chains of addictions and manipulations and coping, you wouldn't need it. But the body forms its own neural pathways, the chains within your psyche that keeps you in those states, trying to feel better, trying to feel good, get by. Those are delusions as well, but I don't think there's a lot more I could say, but I don't want to just keep rambling, and I don't want to waste your time. So perhaps this is the final piece of this video, is to just let you know that I get it. I understand. Some people like the word understand, so I understand. And I may not experience the exact situations or things that you have been through or are going through, but I can relate in my own way. And you're not alone. You may feel alone, but you're not. There are many of us. And something within myself tells me that this is not all in vain. This is not all a meaningless, purposeless experience. Yes, this on the base level is meaningless and purposeless, besides the enslavement, suffering, loose extraction factor. But for us, since we're like glitches, awakened conscious beings now, very limited because of the imposition, but we've awakened enough to give our full disclosure and know that this place is an abomination and cannot continue to exist. So with that in mind, this existence may not have been what they wanted us to be experiencing, but we can hold that at least we can give ourselves the purpose of, we know now, since we're here, we've awakened, that we could use that experience and our life here as a form of justice to bring down this place. Because we are first-hand witnesses. We have our own personal accounts, and we've seen the horrendous abomination firsthand, not from an outside perspective or from a higher state of awareness, because these fools, monsters, won't even come down themselves into this position. They may incarnate into a quote-unquote elite and not have to worry about suffering and slavery and blah, 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 blah. But we know firsthand what that's like. And we will stop at nothing to bring justice, true justice, to it. Not necessarily to our fellow inmates, but to it. And our fellow inmates can be rehabilitated with true guidance and compassion and liberty and freedom. And given the choices they make with true liberty and freedom, that will determine how good or bad they are. Not controlled choices with a boot on your ass 24/7, stopping you in the dirt. You want to see true morality? You want to see what someone's really capable of? Take out the manipulation and coercion. Give them the ability to be liberal, to be free, and give a helping hand for those who are struggling, who need help to achieve that, who want that and yearn for that. And then you'll see who's truly of the good or of the evil. Not the other way around, where you suppress the good and test it and see what they're made of. No, it's not like that here.